It's Monday, January 2nd, 2023. Um, I went on a different path this morning to run. While I was there, um, there was like a whole bunch of different people that showed up. Like one had something on this side of his hat. It was a very pronounced symbol. He was using some form of technology. It looked like he was walking the trail, marking it however one does. Um, like not in like a super professional way, but like task builders is what it looked like. Small tasks, just odds and ends, just for participation. Um, which again is work that was greatly appreciated at some point, I believe, on Long Island. I don't know why I've never been introduced into some whatever where participation is appreciated. Um, so he was there. Then there were like two groups of kids. However long I was there, they would have no idea. They weren't there the whole time, but they came running towards the lake. I only saw two groups of them. Maybe there were more. Again, in the field, it's kind of hard. I can only see what I can see. There was a bunch of different whatever in their looks like daily routines. So, um, that was whatever that was. Um, so I completed that, and then we went to go see Stevie out in the hospital. But it's like an hour and something away, and Nucci had um, wanted to bring him a plant and leaving the house. Last I saw, my mom had it in her hands, and the next thing I know, we're at like exit 55, and we'd have to get out at like exit 60 something. And I'm like, spot check. I'm like, you still have the plant, right? And she didn't. She had put it down, picked up a bag of garbage, and then totally forgot the plant by the front door. So that didn't work out the way I had planned in my head. Um, so whatever on that. And then we went to go eat at the Village Idiot in my old town, um, where my children were being raised before whatever. Um, and before I like having to come back to Queens and live this way. Not by choice. So I am, and while I was there, I did not realize, I always just assume it's bucks because it's a stag or a buck where I come from. I did not realize that in Patchogue they have a third option. It's one of three, and the last one being an elk, ELKS. I had no idea that the elks, what, I have no idea what they are. They have some lodge, so I took a picture of it. It's like landmarks when you walk around sightseeing. I lived in the community. I was on the board. I was asked to be on the board of the artist colony, which I gladly accepted. Had no idea what that was about. I told them I'm not an artist. It's like I don't know how to paint or contribute in that way. And they said that they wanted me, and it was John Cena or Cino. So I did. And I was on that for as long as they needed me until they didn't need me any longer. They told me when the meetings were. I showed up. I had an office in town. People came to visit me. Um, and that was it. But elks I had not heard of. There was no, I mean, again, I have four boys, and there was no, like, whatever. Um, I don't know if that's part of the problem with the insult to my intelligence, that I could not get to leave me alone, um, or leave in some fashion. I don't know if there's something larger going on. Um, but when we went to this village idiot, which is called VIP for a different idiom, um, it says Steve and Linda's corner. It's like Linda sat right in the corner booth, right under the sign. I'm like, does that make me Ace of Base from the 1990s? And I saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. So that happened. And then I came home and I'm watching, just checking up on the news. Now, oh, while I was out in Suffolk, I noticed the social media did not upload or whatever so fast, which was fine by me. I mean, it was slightly annoying, but I'm like, it's not life like altering or life like shattering with these upload and download speeds. Um, I mean, it's not like it's like busy distracting work. It's not like anything super important. So that happened. So I noticed a difference. Not that it would have, like, I'm not upset or complaining about it. Um, and then I come home and I had taped Channel 4 News this morning. They had something on about this person who attacked somebody, and they have these words. Like, I grew up on Long Island. I never heard of something called a jihad. I never even heard of something called an Islam, ever. Nothing called Muslim, not ever. There was the Episcopalian church that I went to, that my parents said I had to go to. And then there was the uniformed Catholic school with one theology class. That was it. And that was only, I think, like I went to 1 year theology, maybe 2 years at the most. But it was all new to me. Like, it was like totally, it's like just getting your, like putting your toe in a gigantic lake. It was not like their expertise and like mastery. No, some just getting through the surface, perhaps. What I'm confused about, why in my adulthood is the citadel of New York City so immersed in this communication project with all these words like Islam and jihad and Muslim, but yet on Long Island there was no communication whatsoever when I was growing up. Like, if these were going to be in my future and something I needed to keep an eye on or an ear out for so I could keep myself safe, why was nobody teaching this stuff? To further that, if they weren't going to teach it, they sure as hell needed to provide me, being House of August and Son of a Gun, with, and Star Wars being what it is. I mean, like, the stars were already set and picked with a 77, an 80 reference, and then an 83 reference. I'm still the House of August. I'm still Son of a Gun, and there's, at Dragnet level, more than just cold steel as far as guns are concerned. I don't understand why this capitulate was not offered with, fine, he's intelligent enough for the two of us. Beautiful. Where I was, there was whatever there was. But even that wasn't. So now I'm left here in like a dangerous position. What, relying on everybody else that they're actually going to look out for me, like as if I'm their family? I mean, seriously.
An officials tell NBC News Bickford arrived in New York City by Amtrak on Thursday, adding he had a backpack that included personal writings, terrorist propaganda, a pocket knife, and $200 in cash. From his hospital bed this weekend, authorities say he made a pro-jihadi statement. Just weeks ago,
This word, I still don't know what that word means. There's no like live person I could tap on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, could you tell me what this means? Could you, if my life is in danger somehow by people running around the city with machetes, maybe like an adult class might be nice to like inform some of the public of like what's going on inside the citadel of New York City?" I mean, so there's that going on in the news, which is frightening. And then my uncle says to me when I'm in his hospital room, um, he's in long-term care now, which of course I hate whatever on that, but um, he said to me that something about my Facebook page and about dating. And I'm like, no, I gave him the synopsis of how that went. Um, and he's like, yeah, no, I saw some conversation on Facebook. And I go, what? What conversation on Facebook? And then, like, he just let it go. And I was like, all right. And he said something about in the comment boxes. And I'm like, hmm. I was like, yeah. I was like, again, I don't really, like, I don't download the whatevers because I'm just making notations at this point. I was like, but I hear they have a feature for dating. I was like, oh, and here was the really interesting conversation. I'll go, here's my real problem. I was like, on Facebook, they have this dating thing for locals in the area. But yet, all they keep sending me are black men. I'm like, in this day and age, where there is a dating profile somewhere of what, when I chose what boxes I checked off, Caucasian. That's it. There was no other. It was Caucasian. That's it. And over 6 foot. So I know there's an algorithm, there's a programming, there's a profile already identified that that is all I want. Over 6 foot and Caucasian. And yet somehow Facebook has the audacity to not give me an option and send me everything I don't want as options. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, Uncle Stevie. I was like, but, and of course, my father's in the corner and he's like, well, and my mom's like looking out the room, like, is anybody listening to this conversation? I mean, this is the world that we are in now. I don't know why. I made it real clear when I had a choice on my Match.com profile and on eHarmony that the only choice there was ever going to be for me to date was Caucasian. And that one simple request isn't even being upheld. I mean, there's a lot of problems on the internet and in Technologyville. Um, I'm trying to think of what else specific to this is super important. I'm just gonna go grab a copy of the flag that I have on the wall at the moment just to mark the time and space where I am. It's star 1978. Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies broken. When I was running this morning, I was thinking of the Galactians and of the Euclideans. I think Euclid, and then they had IANS. I don't know how it pronounces out, but in like a Pythagorean theorem, in like a palatial way of being, or thinking, or time and space in documentations. It's kind of like that's where I live and I like to live, in that safe space. Um, and then that goes back to spelling out this great nation, Great, because it's Greek, whether it's Greek and Roman, whether it's, I don't know what else it could be. Um, but I know that GRE is important at somewhere. Um, that's where somewhere over the rainbow comes in, I think.